So for your week 2 practice or preparation project, I'm having you make an animal or a sculpture or something that's made out of hollow forms. So I've got a COVID here. I was making them kind of as ornaments for folks. Oh, my snowman just died. So for this, I'm simply taking the sphere shape to begin with, and then I'm adding on the decoration. So you could do something like this where you work from a simple form, but then I want you to make adjustments to that form. So I'm adding these little, what do you call them? These little spines that are sticking out on this sculpture. I do need to be a little bit careful as I add these because once I get them attached, they're soft clay, right? And so I need to be careful as I put this down or it wants to squish on me. Now you can also work with multiple forms. So here I used an oblong form, but I could also attach 2 round forms to one another to make a more interesting shape. And I just lost my knife there. So I'm going to cut a part where they attach here because I just don't need that extra clay. But that cutout can also allow me to stretch a bit. And so I can start from something that's basically round and just widen up that attachment area a little bit. And then when I go to score and slip, my shape is going to be a little less like a snowman and more like the beginnings of an animal that has maybe a head attached to a body or a waist or whatever it is. Good idea to score and slip on an attachment like that, particularly if the spheres that you've made have been sitting a while. And then you can see I haven't perfectly lined up. I'm kind of trying to squish to get them lined up. But since I have not perfectly lined these up, I better plan to add a coil around that. So I'm going to roll a little bit thicker coil than I used for adding those little things. And then I'm going to get in there and I can use my finger. I can use a rubber tip tool. I can use a wooden, like one of those round wooden carving tools. And I can get in there and squish that into place. Depending on the thickness, your finger is totally fine. If you see I kind of ran out of clay there, I'll come back to that and add a bit more clay. But I'm going to get as much of this secured, and this coil on the outside is helping me make sure that that's secure. There we go. And then I'll add a little bit more clay in the areas that I skipped. And now I can start to see, okay, does this start to look like a bowling ball, a bowling pin, or a person or an animal or something like this. I can also, if I want to, try to turn this into a face. The clay is soft enough that I can start to squish some eyes into place. And I can always add clay too. Probably want to score and slip, and then I can add some clay onto here. I'm doing a fast version because you don't need to watch me score and slip. But the neat thing about clay is that you can mold expression, right? You can mold interesting form. You can build up the shape. Now, the challenging thing about this is you probably, if you don't have any experience with clay before, you probably don't have experience making shapes, right? Making 3D forms. If you've drawn before, you know how to fake 3D in 2D, how to make something look like it's got weight. But in sculpture, we have to look at it from this view and this view. And right now my guy's looking a little bit silly. But your sculpture doesn't have to be beautiful. It can be funny, it can be interesting. I want it well crafted, but you can have some fun with it. Now I also want you to add some texture, and so in the next video I'm going to clean this guy up a little bit and talk about texture.